What's up, Ryan?
Oh my god, there's so much fucking dust in here right now. Oh my, it's been like, has anyone been cleaning here? Ah,
No, I fired the maid.
someone left
We
the
can't-
lights on too. Ah, the electric bill's gonna go crazy, and the Christmas decorations are still up. The Christmas decorations are still up in here. Jesus Christ! Ah, what a mess.
It's Christmas though. It's still Christmas. It's still
Low.
kind of Christmas.
It's late January.
Ooh, you're right. But I invited everyone we knew for a party. I mean, nobody showed up except I think we have one special visitor who showed up to the Christmas party. Oh my gosh,
I've been here since Christmas.
you've,
Hello.
you've been here the
How
whole
are you
time.
still
I've been here the
alive?
whole time. I've been waiting.
It's-
What's happened?
You're the one who's not been dusting in the the Looney Tunes stadium.
Yeah, wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
Well, who are you? What are you doing here?
Well, I'm your girlfriend, sweetheart. It's me, Artie.
You forgot?
Oh my gosh,
I know it's been a while.
you've just been missing since Christmas, so I thought you died.
Well,
I
now
had-
I'm back.
There we go.
I had a funeral and everything. Well, Artie here is, of course, a great friend to the podcast, as well as my girlfriend, as well as the number one foghorn leghorn export that we know. Isn't that right?
I am the number one foghorn leghorn export, but also the number one foghorn leghorn expert and appreciator.
Yes, you know this man like the back of your hand. Correct. And by man, I mean rooster.
I know that rooster of a man, man of a rooster. I know him well. He's my friend. I only wish the best for him.
This is a song they sing in Tarzan, right? Like, man of rooster, set me free.
Well, we're here to talk about some Looney Tunes stuff. Now, typically, we talk about Looney Tunes really, going at it, battling each other in their typical shorts. But
Right.
today we have watched, and by today I mean a few months ago, we have watched a few episodes of the show, The Looney Tunes Show. Capital The Looney Tunes Show. Oh, but Ryan, what is this show?
Well, this is a show that around, I think, like, what was it, like late 2000s, I want to say. Looney Tunes did a bit of a rebrand, I guess the word I would use. Because wasn't the kids didn't care about Looney Tunes right then and there.
They made it awesome.
And the Looney Tunes show presents the Looney Tunes characters in a bit of a different way than I think you're used to. If you somehow haven't seen it, if you somehow watch this podcast and don't know what this show is somehow, they aren't going at each other's throats. They aren't going to epic god battles like they usually are in their cartoons, as you know. In this show, the Looney Tunes live a very peaceful, quote unquote, suburban life. And Bugs and Daffy are roommates. He's got his girlfriend Lola Bunny in her only funny appearance ever. Their neighbor is Witch Hazel. It's really cool. There's almost no Elmer Fudd, so if you come to the show for Elmer Fudd, I hate to break it to you, you're not gonna get a lot of Elmer
I'm so
Fudd.
sorry.
They decided early on Bugs' neighbor is Yosemite Sam, and Elmer Fudd was not keeping up with the pace. Like he couldn't keep up.
Yeah, this is a fun sitcom-esque show featuring the Looney Tunes characters. I think it's really fun how they've placed the roles of these characters into these more sitcom roles. This one is and was controversial when it started. There was a lot of hate for the designs of the characters when it started.
It's insane.
The fact that it wasn't going to be like funny shorts, which like I get to an extent because these are people who have just come off lunatics. Unleash. Unleash even. So they're, skeptical. But even now, I think after, it's the smoke has cleared and people have mostly gotten over it. And generally, the show is pretty well liked.
Just real quick, everyone was wrong about the art
Yes,
direction.
everyone was. They pivot. Season 1 has this very strong art direction. It's very unique looking. The characters are very cute. They just like totally in season 2, I guess because they were so scared of all the backlash, they change it to very like generic looking. It doesn't look bad. It's not as strong of a there's not a clear vision.
They look a lot more like Looney Tunes stock art in season 2 compared to the very like sharp like I think, strong silhouetted designs of the first season.
Nowadays, though, as generally people agree, it's a pretty fun show. Though there are still a lot of critics, especially, the main thing that people are unhappy about is it takes these really fun, bombastic characters, really kind of squishes them into some boxes so that they can fit these sitcom archetypes. They get up to crazy stuff. Like, crazy stuff happens in the show, but, you don't have people getting blown up by dynamite. You don't have as much of that, like, really fast-paced humor that you would see in a short, but that's because these are, like, full TV episodes. So, they have, basic plot structure, and it's pretty fun. The best thing about this show, if I will not take any arguments about this, is Lola Bunny in the show is the best Lola Bunny has ever been.
She's hilarious.
This is the only piece of Looney Tunes media ever made ever where she's remotely funny, and she's also the funniest character in
yes, she makes frequent appearances. She's always getting into slapstick goofs. She's really dumb, but in a fun way, not just like I'm like a ditzy girl, she's just she's kind of crazy
in a public health concern way.
Yeah, like she's like Ed from Ed, Ed and Eddie. Like you worry about her. You like, how has she survived as an adult for this long? So we're gonna talk about the Christmas episode of this show. Yes, this show had a Christmas episode. It's called A Christmas Carol. Woo! Yay! Christmas Carol!
Is there any specific reason you like this episode so much?
Well, I think it's, for one, a pretty funny Christmas special, so I always like watching it during Christmas time. But it also features my dear best friend, Foghorn Leghorn, quite heavily, which I enjoy. If you didn't know, in the show, Foghorn Leghorn is an eccentric billionaire. So he has his own company, and he kind of just does whatever he wants to do. People seem to really like him. He's, like, not really that annoying or, like, mean-spirited in any way. He's just, like, kind of a little eccentric, and he has a lot of money. And frequently he runs into Daffy Duck in the show, and he just loves Daffy Duck. Like,
Daffy's his favorite person.
Yeah, every time he runs into Daffy Duck, something horrible happens. And he never gets mad at Daffy. He never yells at him or nothing. There's like one episode where they beat the shit out of each other, and then by the end they're like hugging and laughing. I don't I don't know what it is about that damn duck in this show.
I'm just happy they found each other.
God, yeah, they're like in love with each other. Completely. So this one has kind of two plots. You have Lola Bunny is upset because there's a heat wave. And she's upset because nobody's really getting into the Christmas spirit. So she decides she's going to put on a play. And Bugs is like, oh, you could do like the Christmas Carol. And she has absolutely no idea what Christmas Carol is. So she decides to rewrite it completely into her vision, which is very good. Who's all in the play? I forgot.
I know everyone. It's Speedy, Porky, the Gophers, Yosemite Sam, and then technically Bugs.
That's true.
He's Santa.
Yes, Bugs is Santa. Yosemite Sam is a nightclub owner. Speedy Gonzales is a basketball player.
Yeah.
The Gophers are elves.
They are elves.
And Porky is Hambone.
Yes, Porky Pig is just a pig. He plays a pig.
Which is a huge microaggression.
Yeah, that's something to talk about. This takes place in a very casual, I think. You don't really think about the world of Looney Tunes too hard in the shorts because it's so zany and fast. But it's like such a grounded world. Like, could Porky Pig face a microaggression for being a pig in this universe?
Yes, and I feel like he frequently does.
He kind of does in this show.
Yeah, they do not like Porky in this show. He's like kind of pathetic in this show.
His friends are kind of Bugs is all right to him, but Daffy in particular is the worst friend ever to him. And he never unleashes Dark Porky in this show, so I mean...
No, he just keeps it bottled inside. Maybe he's on medication or something, and he's got to keep the beast within.
I think in this show he's the type of guy to have a therapist.
Oh,
like, he probably talks it out. You know?
He unleashes Dark Porky on his therapist. So if the Dark Porky power could be contained in that way, like, is it a thing where he has to kind of like just vent to somebody, or does he have to keep it inside?
Maybe that's the thing. Dark Porky doesn't exist in the Looney Tunes show universe because he does have a support system, maybe like just off screen, like he goes to therapy. But in Looney Tunes World Cartoon World, he doesn't go to therapy because there is no therapist in Looney Tunes Cartoon World Looney Tunes.
No real therapist. There's like a joke therapist.
No, all the therapists in Looney Tunes Cartoon World Looney Tunes are all like actual like just freaking like I'm the therapist game with Doug like type like in this world there's a normal guy he goes to. He's like a normal guy. Hey Porky, welcome to your session today. Really excited to just get things rolling. Let's get talking.
Take a seat, Porky, and then Porky feels better, which is good because he's a pig now in this play. He probably has to go to a therapy session about that.
he wouldn't be able to talk about it later.
He like says his lines, and his lines are like oink oink, and then Lola's just like, no, you make pig noises. And it's like, okay, cool it, girl, all right.
Maybe Lola should go to therapy.
That's without saying.
She's not going to therapy.
So while Lola is doing this fabulous play, you might be asking yourself, well, what's Daffy up to? I'll tell you exactly what he's up to. Foghorn Leghorn is so mad about it being hot during Christmas that he has a plan to take a giant fan to the North Pole, plug it in, and blow cold air onto the city so that they could have a snowy Christmas.
He's a genius.
Everyone seems to think he is out of his absolute mind for this, but I believe in him.
I think my favorite part is that Daffy watches this announcement that Foghorn makes on the TV, and then like the next minute Foghorn just rolls up outside the house and Daffy just gets into his limo. Like, without saying they're doing it together. There doesn't even need to be any communication.
The implication that they talk like just like regularly off screen is kind of funny to me. Like Daffy realistically is friends with two different millionaires in this. There's an earlier episode in the show where we learn that Bugs Bunny doesn't have a job in this show because he's a millionaire. He mentioned like a carrot peeler, and now he never has to work another day in his life. And he's also friends with our dear friend Foghorn Leghorn, who's also a millionaire. So Daffy Duck is really good at mooching off millionaires, basically.
He just has this presence about him. Daffy works like a lot of odd jobs in the show, but generally is understood to be very like incompetent and unable to hold down a job. So he needs this. He's going to go to the North Pole with Foghorn. So they have their little adventure there, and it's hilarious. I gotta admit. They play off each other so well. It makes me so sad that there really isn't much of them at all in the original shorts of like Foghorn and Daffy. I just think they're a funny pair.
I'm like connecting this together now. Foghorn Leghorn's just like Frank Reynolds for It's Always Sunny in the show. He's just like really fucked up little confused man who like does strange things, who has like an insane backload of money so he can do whatever he wants.
That's basically what it's like. And they make it all the way up to the North Pole, and I think there's a line Daffy says, because he's like regretting it. Like as soon as they get there, they have to like jump out of a plane and like parachute down, and then they have to walk through the snow to get to the North Pole. And at one point, I think Daffy says, "Why do I keep getting involved with you?"
He can't resist.
I mean, how could you say no to Foghorn Leghorn if he asked you to go to the North Pole with him to plug in a big fan? I mean, what would you do?
Why do I keep getting involved with? That's such a loaded line about like the relationship that we're like examining here. Like, what is he loves Foghorn Leghorn and Foghorn Leghorn loves Daffy.
There's definitely like feelings there that they haven't talked about, but there's feelings.
Yeah, we don't know how many off-screen adventures they've had together. Like where Daffy has just like gotten involved with Foghorn in some random thing he wanted to do on a Tuesday and been like, this has been exhausting. I'm over it.
I wanna roll back to Lola Bunny for a minute. Because I think we're getting a bit off topic even for like power abilities. I think Lola Bunny in this show, despite existing in a more grounded universe, I think she could keep up with the other tunes. I think she has the energy. I could very easily see this Lola Bunny triumphing over our usual beloved Elmer Fudd and Foghorn, not Foghorn, I mean Yosemite Sam. I think she could triumph over both those type of characters. I think despite her presence in a more grounded universe, I think she could very easily survive our Looney Tunes universe.
She definitely has the penchant for hijinks and the capacity for violence, so I would agree.
Absolutely. Because if you think about what she does in this show, it's like crazy. Like they're always commenting on like how crazy she is, and she does a bunch of dangerous shit all the time. But that's like normal stuff that Looney Tunes do, like in the Looney Tunes actual like shorts. So she'll be okay. She can handle it. Good for her. I'm glad she can keep up with the big boys.
I think she's not someone, to like sleep on, just even though she takes place within this grounded universe. I think if Elmer Fudd shot her with a gun, nothing would happen.
Even in this universe.
Even in this universe.
She would just dodge it.
She would simply dodge it.
I do like how later Daffy and Foghorn finally get to the tip of the North Pole, but then they realize there's nowhere for them to plug in the fan, which stupid, but whatever. And Daffy hallucinates that he sees Santa, and he is just so happy. I have never seen Daffy Duck this like gleeful, childlike wonder in his eyes, and he just like runs up to who he thinks is Santa and like sits in his lap and like cuddles up with him. It's just very tender. And then even earlier than that, at one point, like Foghorn is trying to think about what to do next, and he says, WWSD. What would Santa do?
It's so Santa exists in this universe 100%. We see him at the end of the episode. Is he like an inspirational figure within this world, you think?
I don't know, because like Daffy is such a mean, cold-hearted person, especially in this show. You would think that the second he saw Santa, he would be like, I want this and I want that, and you gotta do, like, being very demanding and like haughty like he is. But like he sees Santa and he almost just like melts like completely.
He may have been melting literally because he was dying of hypothermia. Like they were dying, like actively going to die. So I'm not surprised he was kind of relieved at that point.
But there was just such a warm and tenderness to it. Plus, Foghorn's earlier line makes me believe that Santa is like regarded more highly in this universe. Yeah,
he seems to just be like straight up a figure the public are aware of and like hold and like hide. He is kind of a Jesus figure in this universe, right? Like he's a magical being, he can fly, and then Foghorn talks about him like he's like someone with great prestige, like someone to really look up to, like someone who like if he was like it wasn't even Christmas time, he'd still be thinking about him.
I wonder then, do we have to consider Santa Claus a Looney Tunes character?
Oh my god.
Do we have to add him into the sphere?
He'd win though. Let's not think about him. He used the magic Christmas laser and win.
You don't think that Bugs could handle Santa?
Oh, what if he brings his bodyguard though, and Agent Garcia? Like it'd be over all the Looney Tunes. We didn't get him out of here. We didn't get the Looney Tunes out of here.
We can't talk about Red One. So eventually, what happens is that as Lola is about to put on her play, she accidentally activates a trap door, which traps her and all the other actors, sans Bugs, in underneath the stage. And the play is about to start, but thankfully Bugs has had to do so much helping and line correcting that he basically knows the play by heart. So he puts it on himself, and it's awful, but nobody cares because it's air conditioned, so they go to see it anyway. And even Foghorn and Daffy are there in the crowd watching the show. Which is a Christmas Carol, but not really a Christmas Carol. It's about a girl named Carol. I forgot about it.
It might be better. It might be even better than the Christmas Carol.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. It's got the bodyguard character, and she goes to the nightclub and all that. It's pretty cool.
What's the name of Sam's character? It's like Rick Sanchez or something like that.
Yeah, he's like a ridiculous name. But it's a good time. Santa shows up at the end, and then they sing a Christmas song, which is another thing about the Looney Tunes show, is that they would sometimes have a little musical number in the middle of the episode or at the end, depending on their mood, I guess. And they range from, it's all right, to pretty bad in terms of
there is one fantastic one, though.
Yes, and we will be talking about that.
We'll get to there.
So that's kind of just a flyby of the Christmas Carol. Not the Christmas Carol, a Christmas Carol. There is one Elmer Fudd appearance in this one. He's like the news reporter, and then I think he appears somewhere in the song at the end.
Oh yeah, he sings about my holiday depression. He sings about that. It's one of his very few like. He has like there's like one episode in this whole show about him. I think like one single episode, and then he makes like 3 scant appearances. His most notable thing in this whole show is that grilled cheese song. He does nothing else of note, pretty much.
Yeah, everybody knows about the grilled cheese song, so that's his like one
if you
thing.
Please.
So let's talk about Double Date because this introduces a new character. Pew pew. It's Tina.
My favorite character. She's Daffy's love interest. And she's too good for him, and she should date a real man like me.
I think the more accurate thing to say, she's Daffy's project lead.
Yeah.
Tina is a duck who works at like a copy store, and she sees Daffy a lot because he's just fucking does nothing all day. He just bugs her, and she just doesn't seem that bothered by him. He's really annoying, and he's like pushy. And she just kind of stands there and looks at him and is like, okay. Whatever. You're here, I guess. Daffy Duck, throughout the show, says to people one of his professions is that he is a wizard. Let's talk about that.
Yeah?
I feel like in past Looney Tunes shorts, we have seen Daffy do things that might be considered wizard-like. But have you ever seen him conjure magic? I haven't. So I think he might be lying about the wizard thing.
I hate to break the illusion, but he does confirm to Tina in this episode he's not really a wizard.
What? He lied?
Yeah. They're in the limo at the end. He goes, I need to tell you something. I'm not really a wizard.
Then he's a liar, is what you're telling me.
And you need to write down on your stats right now, Daffy has no magic powers.
None whatsoever.
Powers.
Self-admitted, no magic powers. We'll lie about it, though.
We know why he was lying about it though.
Why?
Because he needed the business cards to get the dinner.
Oh, that's right.
What was he gonna do? Put his real job on there?
Unemployed.
Unemployed.
Do you think that Daffy Duck could convince another Looney Tunes character he was really a wizard?
Oh, easily. There's so many.
Okay, name one.
I think he could convince Foghorn.
I think he convinced foghorn. I think he convinced Elmer. I think he convinced Porky. I think he convinced a lot of Looney Tunes that he's something he's not.
Foghorn would just believe him completely, no questions asked.
Oh my god, I say it's a magic duck.
Boy, we're gonna make you a millionaire. What about Porky?
I said my opinion. I think Porky would believe it, yes.
Okay. No, I'm writing this down. I'm writing all this down.
I think Porky needs proof. I don't think Foghorn needs proof. Foghorn would just believe him, but Porky would need evidence.
Yeah, I do think Porky would be able to trick. I think Daffy would be able to trick him though. He would put up a little show and he'd be like, "Oh, he's a wizard. Oh my god. Oh dear."
He does like a very basic like magic trick.
He does like the thumb trick. He pulls his thumb off.
Porky's like, oh my god.
Porky's mind is blown.
I think just generally speaking, I just think Daffy has magical trickery powers, I think, and I think he could fool a lot of Looney Tunes, and that's one of his main. I think that's one of the main reasons he would survive a decent amount of time in the battlefield. Is he would be so good at like telling lies,
tricking people, being evil. Well, at one point here, Daffy does win a free date at a nice fancy restaurant, and he first asks Bugs to go with him. Bugs is really homophobic in this episode.
Really homophobic, just like rancidly homophobic.
I don't know what happened. What happened to Bugs? Why is he so homophobic in this episode?
I don't know.
Is this one of the key differences between like Looney Tunes cartoon universe Bugs and like this one?
This Bugs hasn't embraced his queer identity. So he's just every like expression of that Daffy has of not being like straight or cis, Bugs is just like really, he pulls a face, he's like really against it. So he hasn't found his true self, which is sad.
Yes, but we'll get there with him. He needs to be worked on a little.
Do you think Daffy Duck is affecting Bugs Bunny's opinion of queer people in this cartoon?
Yes.
He might be, because Daffy Duck truly is one of the worst people you could ever know in this universe. Like, he's so, like, it's hard to describe if you haven't seen the show. In the Looney Tunes shorts, he's like kind of annoying sometimes, but you kind of like love to hate him. In this show, he is so mean and greedy and just like unpleasant a lot of the times that it's genuinely hard to like him in any way. So I think if Bugs Bunny's only queer friend was Daffy Duck, that Bugs would be like, eh, they all like this? When Daffy asks Bugs to go to this dinner with him, and Bugs is like, no, I don't want to go with you. So then Daffy immediately is like, okay, I'll call Porky. He calls Porky. Then Bugs is like, no, with a woman. And I'm like, Bugs, come on. He could go with Porky. It's okay.
He can go with Porky. He can go on a lovely romantic dinner date with Porky. It's fine.
Porky was so excited. Porky was so excited to go. He was like, wow, really? Yay. I could have had him on time.
So hold on. Is Porky Pig bisexual?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now this is an interesting question to have. Why is Bugs not allowing his dear friend bisexual Porky to like affect like his opinion of queer people? Does he not respect Porky?
Maybe he doesn't know.
Here's my thoughts. I think Daffy is unlabeled, so Daffy doesn't really define what he is. So Bugs kind of, gently, tries to coerce him into the straight box. It's like, no, you need to date women. What are you doing, freak?
Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Horrible. Why is Bugs like this?
Don't know.
What happened to him?
It's okay.
We really like done something to him.
He's not living his truth right now.
So this Bugs Bunny would die immediately on the battlefield, is what you're saying?
Yes.
It might.
Interesting. Daffy wants to ask Tina to the dance, but he's nervous. He's scared. So he asks Lola for advice, and Lola gives him the worst advice you could ever give a person. She gives him a script and says, just say this to any woman and they will instantly fall in love with you. And the script is basically like, it says, you are the most beautiful person ever. I love you. Hey, I have an idea. Let's leave our families behind and work together at the same place and never talk to anybody else ever again.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. There's something wrong with her.
And it needs to be stressed. When she writes this, Daffy repeats it back to her, and she falls in love with him instantly after he says this.
Yeah, her ideal man is somebody who wants them to just like be attached at the hip 24/7, leave everything behind, and then never like look back. It's essentially.
Yes.
So Lola, of course, is crazy for Daffy now. And Daffy is getting ready for his date, so Lola naturally sneaks into his bedroom and waits for him after he gets out of the shower.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
She brought a ladder.
She's so quirky.
She's so quirky. She brought a ladder to climb up to his bedroom window so she could sit on his bed and wait for him.
She does also like instantly fall out of love with Bugs when this happens, which I think is interesting. She like kind of like she kind of thinks he's like bother. She's like in the way. He's like in the way of her plans to her in this scenario.
Yeah, she's trying to sneak around to go to the same dinner so she can kind of like quote like bump into Daffy, and so she like kind of uses Bugs to get to the to the restaurant. And Bugs, of course, is just like, oh yeah, that's fine. Tries to be nice to her, jokes around with her at dinner, and Lola is like not interested in any way.
No.
Yeah, it makes Bugs feel really self-conscious, which I think is hilarious as well, because his jokes aren't hitting. He's not getting anywhere, and yeah, it makes him feel bad about himself, which he should do because he acted terribly to Daffy.
It's so weird seeing Bugs like lose his confidence like that, because he's a very confident character. He's got a decent amount of money in the show. he is usually pretty like chill and laid back. Like not a lot bothers him. Like even when Daffy's being kind of idiotic, he just kind of like is like whatever, it has nothing to do with me. But the instant that Lola decides he's, you know, no more worth than the gum on the bottom of her shoe, he's just like going into the bathroom trying to give himself a pep talk because he's so stressed about not being liked. And I think that says something about him.
That's an interesting weakness for him.
I wonder.
Rejection.
Yeah.
Romantic rejection. He just can't handle it.
So if this is something that is shared amongst all Bugses, if Bugs romantically pursue someone and they reject him, that knocks some of his power down a little bit.
That maybe it had to be somebody he actually cares about, though. That's the problem.
Like if he was dressing up like a woman to sexually seduce Elmer Fudd and Elmer Fudd was just not having it that day, he wouldn't really care that much. You know, just a trick that failed, right?
He just think of a new plan.
Okay, but if it was somebody he was actively trying to pursue,
yeah, I think that would break his heart. I think if he was truly infatuated with someone and he couldn't get the repercussion he wanted out of the situation, I think it'd make him crumble a bit. I think maybe just generally like that's like true of him. If he doesn't get the reaction he wants, I think maybe that is a bit hurtful to him. Maybe that is a bit of a weakness of his.
So his power is ego, which is also his weakness.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Writing this down.
Making notes.
Making notes. So this ends with Lola being so crazy that she just, you know, gets up on the stage and starts singing to Tina and Daffy, who are having a lovely date. Tina describes Daffy as like a broken down building or something. She says, "You got like bugs crawling in you and stuff, and I want to fix you."
She loves a project.
That's lovely. So good for Daffy. He finally found somebody for him. And Lola is super jealous until Bugs finally is like, "Hey, you're my girlfriend, by the way." Then Lola is like, "Oh, yeah, that's right." Essentially, because at this point, Bugs has been kind of playing hot and cold with her. And so finally getting him to say, "Hey, I'm your boyfriend," makes Lola like instantly snap out of her Daffy crush. And now she's like super back into Bugs Bunny. She like recorded it on a tape recorder.
Do you think deep down her true love was always festering a bit? Like it was always down there just a little bit?
For Bugs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that she was only briefly infatuated with Daffy. She knows she belongs with Bugs Bunny, in this canon especially. And she, you know, it was just buried in there. It needed to be reawakened, essentially. I will say this does give Lola some good points because it shows she's very crafty, shows she is uses her resources, and that she can be really scary if she has a goal. She's
slightly terrifying.
She doesn't really take no as an answer, does she?
That's what I mean. I think she is like very like comparable to like the actual Looney Tunes, and even just in this show, I just think no one can stop her. I think she has powers.
At the middle of this episode, it plays the song "Be Polite." I'm going to play a very brief snippet of it in the episode now.
Thursday night, the waiter set our plates just right. We were so very impressed, we knitted him a sweater vest. When our car ran out of gas, the tow truck driver got there fast. He filled our tank with no delay. We took him to a Broadway play. Be polite, always be nice. Make sugar your favorite spice. If someone shoots you with a laser beam, remember that it would be rude to scream.
Okay, so welcome back from that. Now that you've heard a little bit of the best song I made,
of course,
be polite, always be nice, make sugar your favorite spice. Do you want to talk about Wile E Sisyphus?
Well, hold
Do we
on.
have to?
No, not even a little bit, actually. You know what happens? I don't. You know what? I don't think I wrote any notes down. I don't remember what happened in it.
I did. I wrote some notes.
You get to talk about it then, because I literally don't. If you asked me to tell like, right, what happened in this Yosef and this freaking
Wile E.
Coyote and Roadrunner CGI horrible cartoon short, I'd like, I don't know, they looked ugly and died.
That's basically what happened at the end of some of these episodes, which I think they stopped by season 2. They have these Wile E. Coyote shorts that are in CGI.
Yes, for like some like production reference, they are leftovers from the show with Laugh Riot, which was the earlier version of Looney Tunes show where it was more segmented cartoon type.
Yes, and this one is about Wile E. Coyote. He roll up a rock up a mountain. He keep missing the Roadrunner. Then
wow.
the rock rolls over him.
Yeah.
And then at one point, I don't remember how, but I wrote in my notes, Roadrunner attacks Wile E. So at some point,
I remember that vaguely. Like the Roadrunner struck back, which was out of character for him, and we're all quite shocked.
Yes, it's not every day you see the Roadrunner actually, one, acknowledge Wile E. Coyote, and then two, actually make a move back at him. Because as we've discussed time and time again, the Roadrunner is in it for the chase. He's having a fun time. He thinks this is a fun game. This was malicious. And I didn't like it. I was sad. Bad Wile E. Sisyphus. Get away from me.
I guess we're gonna have to watch all the Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner CGI shorts to figure out if this is a consistent characterization of these shorts.
Please.
Why not? What don't you like about these beautiful, detailed graphics with wonderful
They're
visuals
ugly.
and such awesome jokes?
I hate them. Can we talk about father figures? The last episode we watched.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Artie, what happens in this one?
Well, you see, Porky signs up to be a father figure, and Daffy, deciding that he also needs that in his life, signs up for the same program as the child.
Yes.
It's so good. Such a good premise.
It's really good. It is really, really good. And there's a lot of themes of, what does it mean to have a father figure, or perhaps be a father figure, as we find out through Bugs' storyline as well, where he meets Lola's dad, and he's weird.
Lola's dad is
He's
very
a strange man.
He's a very strange man. What's funny about this episode is that you have these 3 different, father-son kind of plots happening at the same time. And they're just all very entertaining, I think, in different ways.
Oh, do you want to tell the viewers who Porky Pig's child figure is?
Yes. Porky is saddled with Henry Chicken Hawk.
Chicken Hawk's not a chicken. He's just a hawk that eats chicken.
Yay!
Who wants nothing more than to eat some chicken?
Yeah.
I want some chicken. Give me chicken. And Porky is doing his best to be a father figure for Henry. He wants to give him discipline. He wants to take him to educational things. But Porky's a very, dry person in general. So Henry is not the most amused. He just wants some chicken. Meanwhile, Bugs is playing with Lola's father, who is named Walter. They're playing tennis together, and they're doing all sorts of other things because Walter wants to enter them in a father-son tennis tournament. But he also, he's got Lola, but you could tell Walter's always wanted a son. So they do other things. They do golf, they do fishing, bowling, I think, all sorts of things. But the consistent being that Walter is very bad at everything they do, including tennis.
Yes, Walter just seems to really want to be with Bugs, which is interesting. He, like daughter, like father, I suppose.
Bugs has a kind of charisma that they're drawn to.
It's in their blood.
It's in their bloodline.
Yeah. It's in their bloodline. But what of Daffy? Now, Daffy is enrolled in this program as the child, but who is Who's Daffy's father
Is
figure?
Daffy's
Do we-
father
do we-
figure?
Do we need to ask who Daffy's daddy is?
Daffy's daddy.
Need we ask?
is-
We know. We know it's eccentric billionaire Foghorn Leghorn. Come on.
It's
We set this
eccentric
up.
billionaire, Foghorn Leghorn. Wow, wow, wow. Why do they do this?
Because it's perfect.
I
That's what
think
should
my
have
favorite-
happened.
My favorite thing is that, like, Daffy gets in the limo. Foghorn, like, looks at him, recognizes him, obviously. And he's like,
Yes.
well, this whole time you've been so amazing. And you're a child. I had no idea.
See, that's why he believed that he was a wizard. He just
Daffy
accepts it.
I think Daffy says he's like 8 or something. Foghorn doesn't question it at all. He's just like, okay, let's go have fun. And they do all sorts of fun activities together because Daffy's a moocher.
They have a wonderful time.
Has this given Daffy Duck, like this show, given Daffy Duck a new powerful ally on the battlefield?
I think it might have, because there's not enough supporting evidence in the shorts to show that, like, Foghorn and Daffy don't get along in the shorts.
Right.
But there's lots of evidence here to say that they get along. It's just so good. They're so good together. It might be an ally. Who knows?
It might be an allyship.
We'll have to play with that idea a little bit more, because who knows how that might manifest on a battlefield. We do know Foghorn's very competitive.
Right.
So we'll see. Now Henry Chickenhawk, though, he's not really having it with Porky. Porky wants to take him to a textile museum or something. I don't know.
I would love to
but-
go to a textile museum, just throwing it out there. But
Would you
Henry
go with
Chickenhawk,
Porky?
I would go with Porky. I think he'd have a lot to say. And I respect that. But I don't think Henry Chickenhawk as a child is very interested, which is fair.
Yes, he Henry Chickenhawk goes off to a pet store and tries to, like, eat everything in there. Of course, because that's what he does. Walter, meanwhile, wants to take Bugs out hunting, so he shows up to his house with a gun.
Which is exactly what Lola would do.
It is exactly what Lola would do. So after some arguing between Henry and Porky, they end up at the father-son tennis tournament and to watch. And who should be playing but, of course, Walter and Bugs, as well as Daffy and Foghorn. They have all entered,
Yes.
and it is a delicious feast of rivalry. There's, I think, a moment where Walter, like, comments about Daffy because in an earlier episode, Daffy, like, ruined their lives at one point and was, like, really horrible to Lola's family. And so Walter sees him and is just, like, makes a remark, and then Foghorn's like, he's just a child! Leave him alone! So, that happens. This all, of course, culminates. Finally, it's Walter and Bugs versus Foghorn and Daffy, and Henry Chickenhawk sees that delicious-looking big chicken of a man. Foghorn Leghorn leaps from the stadium and starts just, like, biting his ass, trying to eat him.
With all fairness to Henry Chickenhawk, I don't know if I could stop myself from doing the same.
If you...
Oh my
It
goodness.
would happen. Like, if I saw that, someone's getting bit.
I'm gonna launch myself at Foghorn Leghorn and sink my
Why?
teeth into him.
Yep.
What is, like, the in-universe ramifications of, like, this implication? Would if somebody ate Foghorn Leghorn, would that be considered, like, a bad thing to do in this universe?
Yes.
Well, at the end of this episode, right after this happens, Foghorn gets wheeled away into an ambulance, and Henry gets put in the back of a cop car. So he did try to attack and eat somebody, and that was viewed as a bad thing. The weird thing about this world is that, like, 90% of the characters are humans. Like, it's just human people. They're like, Doctor is human. He's a reoccurring character. There's a few other, like, Foghorn has
Yes.
an assistant who's a reoccurring character.
Who
She's a
hates
human.
Daffy.
Yeah, she hates Daffy. But then you have the Looney Tunes characters, which are all animals. But then you have, like, the newer characters like Tina or, like, the added characters like Lola's parents, they're rabbits, those kinds of characters. You have a few others here and there. Porky gets a love interest at some point. So I don't know, because they make comment on the types of animals they are like all the time.
Yes.
So it's not like they're seen as people a lot of the time by others. But they're also like not treated weirdly. Like Bugs and Daffy walk around without clothes and nobody really says anything. Same with Porky and like pretty much every other character. So it's not like they're viewed that differently, I guess.
There's at least one episode that confirms Daffy both cannot fly and that his beak can come off.
So, question mark. I don't know what their status is. They get treated like normal people. They have to pay rent and stuff. They can shop at the grocery store and nobody stares at them.
They're not second-class citizens, which is good.
No.
Society has progressed.
So this is why it is a bad thing when Henry tries to eat foghorn leghorn and he gets arrested for it.
I think afterwards, when Foghorn's getting his butt stitched up, Daffy confesses that he's not a child, and Foghorn is just like so accepting. He's just like, we don't need to stop this. This can keep going. Which is a beautiful moment.
I love that. He's like, well, we could keep pretending that. And he doesn't want to stop being his father figure, which is so beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful. It brings a tear to my eye.
In the show, Porky is a caterer. So at the end of the episode, I guess once Henry's been released on bail, he goes to Porky's house and Porky makes him some chicken, finally. And
that is right. He does get arrested in this episode, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
He does. For assault.
In the back of a cop car. And when he's out, he hangs out with Porky. He eats some chicken and he's like, you know what, Porky, you're not so bad. And Porky's like, oh, okay, you're not so bad either. And they kind of like learn to live with each other. And they're different. They have different interests. The things that excite Porky do not excite Henry. And it took a long time for Porky to finally just give him some goddamn chicken.
Yeah, they found a common thread.
They found it. Yeah, they're friends now. And it ends with Daffy and Foghorn going line dancing.
Which is a wonderful sight.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I do have a question regarding Henry Chickenhawk's arrest. Do you think Foghorn will prosecute a child?
I think so.
Like,
would he push? He's petty enough to do it.
Okay. Just
he has the money for it too.
Oh yeah, he does.
He would change laws to make sure that Henry Chickenhawk gets put behind bars. This is why you never see this kid ever again in the show.
That's right. This is like his only episode. They did this sometimes. There's like some Looney Tunes characters who are like just like in one fucking episode. Like there's like this Taz and Sylvester episode.
There's like one episode with Marvin, I think.
There's like one Marvin. They tried, actually, Marvin's in a few season 1 episodes. They try pushing like Marvin as like Daffy and Bugs like weird friend. Like him and like Peter Puma or whatever. And it doesn't work out at all. They like give up on them by, like the second half of season 1.
Yeah, I kind of wish they tried a little more. Just a little.
They really landed on Yosemite Sam.
They love Yosemite
Sam
gets used so much in this show, which is beautiful, I think. They just really like using him, and I love that.
He's just a very funny, pathetic man.
You can really use him for whatever, because he's Bugs' neighbor. You can have those like neighbor sitcom plots where they're like, beefing over, I don't know, their fence line or whatever. And then you can also have him just like doing questionable things, like kind of evil or villainous things, and it just feels normal. Like at one point he's like hawking some like energy drink that's definitely not legal. It's a great episode, by the way. And he like comes to Bugs' doorstep and he's just like selling it out of a wheelbarrow. It's really good. Pretty good stuff. Well, the last thing we have to do is I'm pulling them up now, read some comments from the last video from a while ago. This one's from Iceberg 77779. I think it could be interesting to approach the Battle Royale concept with the, quote, what's the funniest perspective of Looney Tunes. A lot would change compared to the pure power scaling approach. I honestly think that there's a good chance Bugs wouldn't win because that's just the expected outcome.
That might be true. That is something to think about. If you're a jokester, not taking it seriously like we are.
But we're taking it really seriously.
We're doing facts only here, but realistically, if they were animated in this, like in the Cartoon Factory, the winner would probably be some stupid shit like Peter Puma.
We haven't even talked about Peter Puma.
I don't think we'd watch a single fucking. I don't think he'll be in the back. LeBron James and like the white woman from Looney Tunes back in actual on this battlefield, and Peter Puma won't.
We did receive a comment asking us if we would consider doing some episodes with one-off characters, and I think that would be a fun episode concept. Just do like a beaky buzzard, like Peter Puma episode.
That freak Peter Puma in.
Here's another one. This one's surprisingly relevant. From J to the P more no 1010 says, "You say no one loves Daffy on the battlefield, but what about Tina Russo, his girlfriend? She would hesitate to kill him on the battlefield, right? Right?"
Well,
I think if anyone knows when Daffy needs to die, it's Tina. She'd be willing to take that action quickly, concisely. Like, she'd see him and go, "You must die," and it would happen. I believe that in my heart.
She would know when Daffy needs to be put down.
Exactly.
I think.
She's aware.
A necessity, a mercy.
When it's his time to go, she knows. She'll make the call. Now, that we didn't really talk too much about Tina's powers. She is pretty normal.
She's just like normal. That's the thing. She's just like normal.
I think her power is being Italian.
There you go. That's about it.
Which is considerable. Don't underestimate that power. But I think that is the most that we get from her appearance.
She might have a lot of influence on Daffy, who is a pretty big player in the Battle Royale, which is one thing.
She controls him.
she could probably have a lot of influence there, but that's considering they drop from the battle bus near each other. And...
What do they hold hands as they drop?
You can't do that. That's against the rules.
If Daffy's holding hands with anyone when he's dropping from the battle bus, it's Foghorn. Let's be real.
Foghorn and Daffy hand in hand falling from the battle bus.
Or Tina's just free falling.
Maybe that's why Tina wouldn't kill him.
Because he's too busy with Foghorn. She gets jealous.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a fun time. We will do another one much sooner than we did this one, I promise. Artie, thank you so much for coming by and talking to us. Do you have any final Foghorn thoughts? We will be doing our big battle royale sooner than later, so we need some points.
Foghorn thoughts about his powers, about his standing.
Yeah, give me your what do you think about Foghorn and his capabilities?
I think that Foghorn would be the one orchestrating the battle royale. I don't think he'd be participating.
Oh, maybe that's what happens. Like he's like there, like controlling the battlefield.
He's the one that puts them all
end,
together to kill each other.
And then when like Bugs or whatever's the only one left, he realizes like the person left realizes who's like controlling the battle, and they come towards like his house. And they're like, "Oh, wait, no, you can't come in here. You can't come in here. No, assassin, you can't come in here."
So is he gonna be like the old man in Squid Games, where they kill him off, but then he's the guy running the whole thing the whole time?
Oh my god, yes, perfect.
Spoilers for Squid Game season 1. Sorry.
Spoilers for Squid Game.
Well, thank you all for coming by. That's all I had to say. We good to go? We're going?
Yeah.
All right.
See you
That's
next
all,
Christmas.
folks. Bye.
Bye.